Hello and welcome to the Join Dota League Season 3 here on HeflaTV 2. Well, this is going to be a best of 2 between your family and Duza Gaming, and your casters for today are going to be me, Grandis V, as well as Banshee.
Hey, as we are going to be here with two, teams I've actually heard of and seen before. Your family, I've casted previously. You've done a pretty good job there with. And Duza Gaming, I've seen them around in various tournaments. It should be a pretty awesome close match.
Yeah, I would expect a 1-for-1 or at least some close games if it does go 2-0. Yeah, the first bans coming out from both of these teams are pretty much vanilla, not a whole lot to talk about there, as the Brewmaster, Doom, Lycanthrope, and Razor are all pretty standard.
Oh my god, this changes everything!
First pick, Earthshaker.
Well, actually, to be fair, as in that is rather a meta pick as well, as in slight sarcasm, but... the Earthshaker is a very good hero, very good anti-pusher, and a lot of teams are starting to favour him a lot more than other picks, as we do see the Faceless Void Scarlet Mage combo coming out on the opposite side.
Yeah, a combination popularized heavily in TI4. But your family are going to get their hands on it. Just a lot of damage coming out from those two, as well as great setup for the Skywrath Mage, Mystic Flare. If you're able to catch out multiple heroes inside the Chronosphere, that's pretty much a one fight because Faceless Void can focus down one and Skywrath Mage the other. And you end up just having the overwhelming odds in the numbers.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, which is always a good thing to have as we are waiting for the second pick to come out. And they are going to need a way to stop that Faceless Void. And there are still some available in the pool, stuff like Death Prophet or, well, I was going to say Razor, but that's already gone. But basically anything that has the ability to continue doing damage or doing their ability while trapped in the Chronosphere.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Shadow Shaman also left in the pool, so if Duza Gaming just want to get their supporting duo right off the bat, that could also be a solid pickup for them. Earthshaker and Shadow Shaman, a really good supporting duo, and offers a decent amount of team fight as well as solid pushing potential, but they're going to go ahead and get the Bane here. Bane is decent up against the Faceless Void. You can enfeeble him up, and he's going to be hitting like a kitten. You'll still have to deal with the Skywrath Mage, and Defensive Nightmare will help you maybe for like one tick of the damage, or rather for that split second where it does let you be immune, but definitely nothing compared to the Shadow Demon. Still, it's an okay support, but it's interesting that we see him this early on in the draft.
Yeah, but as in Bane's a very good hero, but at the same time, often has a few issues in terms of the Nightmare can often be more harm than good, and the very short range often means that he does get zoned out in the laning stage. But either way, we are seeing them Mirana getting banned out just so they don't have that combo just in case. And I will say that this Earthshaker Bane combo, you don't really see it a lot, mostly due to the fact that neither of them really have that harassing ability. But I would say that's a pretty strong ganking combo.
Yeah, for sure, even though the Faceless Void should be able to get a decent amount in the lane, depending on what the third pickup in that tri-lane is going to be. Mirana definitely your ideal combination, because both the Nightmare as well as the Fissure can set up that arrow, and they have a good amount of damage as well.
Yeah, but as we are waiting for this last ban coming out, the Ancient Apparition and surprisingly Death Prophet being banned out. Obviously, your family will get the first pick, so Death Prophet would be very good to pick up along with that Faceless Void and Skywrath Mage, even more pushing potential. And your family, they've now got to decide. There's still a lot of very good heroes left on the table. Do they want to ban out something like the Brewmaster or the Shadow Shaman and pick up one of the others themselves?
Well, Brewmaster's already banned out, but I think... yeah, going for something... oh, no, they're going to leave the Shadow Shaman in the pool. Up against Duza Gaming, I think that's still pretty solid, especially since they have the Earthshaker Bane as their first two pickups. If that is a mid-Earthshaker, however, Shadow Shaman still could be an option. But yeah, I wouldn't be too scared of them picking that up.
Nope, as, that just make a lot of sense with the Viper. Very good hero right there. We're seeing him picked up a lot more often recently. Just being able to win any kind of 1v1 or even 1v2 kind of lane due to his harassment ability.
10 seconds to go.
And he's just, very good at spiraling out of control if he can get that good start.
5 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see how they're going to utilize him in this draft. Currently, your family just kind of have a lot of good heroes. Their lanes are decently strong. Skywrath Mage, if that is a safe lane farming Faceless Void, should be just fine. As long as the Skywrath Mage keeps whatever offlane hero that Duza Gaming pick up at arm's length, and they're going to go ahead and pick up the Wind Ranger. I'm going to assume that this is going to be heading towards the offlane, but then again, this could also be a mid. I'm not a huge fan of the Wind Ranger, but she can transition into some decent damage later on, especially if you get something along the lines of a Maelstrom or an Orchid on the Wind Ranger, and then also... If you're able to hit those shackles, always a good thing. I don't know, she just kind of feels a little bit lackluster in the current patch, but that will be the choice from Duza Gaming as your family pick up a Wraith King.
Yep, and you know, the Wind Ranger probably going to be going in the off lane. It's very, very old school pick that. It's not been picked up that recently, as we also see another old school pick coming out, the Alchemist, and this might be a carry Alchemist. We haven't seen one of those for ages.
Yeah, I think putting him mid up against the Viper would be terrible, because usually how Alchemist takes over his lane is by using that acid spray, but up against the Viper with the corrosive skin, it's probably just going to do more harm than good, and there's really nothing the Alchemist can do up against the Viper. He can't zone him, and he can't really contest farm, and yeah, I'm expecting this to be a carry Alchemist with the Bane as well as Earthshaker. Nightmare into the Alchemist stun, as well as Fissure to follow up, is a great killing combination. And although Faceless Void has this time walk to get away over the Fissure, they still have plenty of chain lockdown in order to keep him in place. So if that is an offlane Faceless Void, which is expected as of now, he could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Buzz. I will say that Duza's Gaming is a little bit of a stranger draft coming out from them. A lot of old style heroes getting picked up, things like Bane, Wind Ranger, and the Alchemist. They used to be all popular and they're all still very good heroes, but kind of fallen out of the meta.
Yeah, for sure. I think your family just have the more solid heroes. It's a lot easier to kind of get those heroes working together. Scarlet Mage, Concussive Shot, follow up into the Wraithfire Blast is a really good killing combination, especially when you have somebody like the Viper that can also slow them down and pump out a lot of damage once they already get the first barrage of nukes out. And up against a Viper, whatever is laning against that is probably not going to be at 100% HP just because of the harass coming out from that. So I think your family also have a pretty solid roaming duo. I'm not sure exactly what their last pickup is going to be, but it will tell us whether that Faceless Void is going to be heading up the offlane or not.
Yep, as we are going to be seeing the last few bans coming out, the Tink again banned out for the Duza Gaming side, while the Nature's Prophet isn't going to be picked up by your family. And I'd say that Nature's Prophet probably doesn't fit in that well with your family's side. I do guess they have the 4 versus 5 potential in the current lineup they have, and being able to get that split pushing out, but I just feel that your family's side is far greater in terms of that just team fight early ability, and Nature's Prophet does take a while to get online.
Yeah, that said, if Duza Gaming are able to get on to a good early start, the Bane and Earthshaker start getting a lot of traction up with those early kills and rotations, and Earthshaker's able to pick up an early Blink Dagger, I think their team fighting potential is also going to be pretty good. Your family going to round out their lineup with a Clockwork. I think it's going to function fairly well up against Duza Gaming. Bane, Earthshaker, and Wind Ranger can't do a whole lot if they get caught out in the cogs, and while Alchemist, especially if he doesn't have his ultimate online, is fairly squishy.
Yeah, because we are actually seeing the Clockwork getting picked up, and I do like that just because of, like we said, a lot of these heroes on Duza Gaming are, you know, pretty squishy. Even the Alchemist to some extent, if you can catch him before he gets his Chemical Rage off and do most of the damage, you can, you know, take him out pretty quickly.
And even with Chemical Rage on, if they have the Skywrath Mage close, the Mistress Flare into the cogs coming up from the Clockwork is a great combo for bursting down a single target. Yeah, I don't know, I think that your family have a lot of tools that'll make their lineup pretty scary. Although Faceless Void doesn't have a lot of things outside of the Skywrath Mage to put damage into the Chronosphere, I think just having the Skywrath Mage should be enough.
Yeah, we are going to be waiting for this last pick, though, and it's probably going to be a mid pick coming out, as in fact they are taking quite a bit of time for the last pick. Still got 50 seconds left, though. And who do you think would be a good mid pick against this probable Viper?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I think they might just throw the Wind Ranger up mid and let her spam out her power shots to get CS, and well, they will do so as they pick up the Bristleback as their last hero.
Yep, as we are going to be seeing the Bristleback on the off lane, Wind Ranger on the mid, Alchemist, Bane, and Earthshaker tri lane. On the opposite side, though, we do have that Skywrath Mage, Wraith King, and probably Faceless Void tri lane coming up together, and considering the fact that right now, Duza Gaming don't really have a lot of range in their tri-lane, is it worth them trying to go for an aggressive tri-lane?
I'm not sure. If you go aggressive, it might even be worthwhile having the Bristleback as the farming core in that aggressive tri-lane and leaving the Alchemist solo up against the Clockwork. I don't know, a bit of a risky move anyway. I'm not sure we're going to be seeing an aggressive tri-lane coming out from Duza. I think more likely they're going to start out with just the defensive tri-lane and then roam around with the Bane Earthshaker combo. That said, we'll have to see how it's going to pan out for them as we'll go ahead and introduce the teams. On the Radiant side, we do have Duza Gaming with Unstable playing on the Earthshaker, with Captain Love playing on the Bane. That will be our supporting duo. Iceberg going to be heading up that mid-Wind Ranger, starting out with a Null Talisman first, and then in the offlane we will have a Bristleback played by Legion, and the Farming Alchemist will be taken up by Limbo. Currently he's walking into the rest of the enemy heroes. It doesn't look like we're going to have a jump just yet, as Scarlet Mage does not have Concussive Shot, and I think he'll be just fine. But dominance exerted over the Radiant jungle, coming out from your family.
Yep, Limbo is going to have to be a little bit careful, as the other side, we do have your family currently in the enemy
30
jungle.
seconds to go.
We've got Kranich with a capital N on the Faceless Void, Cure with a K instead of a C, playing on the Wraith King, Sun 1 on the Viper, Sun 2 and 3 missing, Valdo on Clockwork, and Fendril the Packet on the Scarlet Mage.
Yeah, that is going to round it out, as the Viper's actually chilling down in bottom lane. Very interestingly enough. I think he definitely needs some support if they are going to go aggressive, but I think the aggressive tri-lane definitely could work out. Keeping the Alchemist away from creeps is always a good thing, as if you do just let the Alchemist free farm, he can come out with a lot of items very quickly. Especially if he is going for more of that Grievel's Greed build, which is something we haven't seen for a long time, but as a safe lane farming Alchemist could be an option.
As we are actually seeing the Faceless Void go mid, and, you know, considering the fact he's against a Wind Ranger, that isn't the worst idea in the world. As I'm guessing they assumed that this was going to be a Viper mid and sent the Wind Ranger here to try and, you know, get something done. And Void should be able to get at least some kind of farm here.
Yeah, Void did not start with a Stout Shield. In fact, went for the Quelling Blade. Interestingly enough, yeah, that's going to take a lot of Ras from Iceberg, and it's dropped down to about half, with getting like one lucky backtrack on one of the auto attacks. I think most of the action is going to be focused down in bottom, as Unstable has found himself a nice little nook inside the trees as they go on to Captain Love with the first stun as well as the slow from Concussive Shot. I don't think that'll be enough. Yeah, I'm not sure they comboed that correctly. They need to harass him down a little bit more with the Viper, and I think they'll need to wait until they get a couple more levels up before they're actually able to get some kills.
Fun fact on this trial lane, only 2 last hits have been taken so far. Just so many dives, reducing the attempted kill on Wraith King, and this should be it. First Blood instantly coming out. And well, that just not going well. Viper is going to pause. Was that a disconnect by someone? They weren't expecting that Earthshaker or a Fissure to come in quite so quickly. And very nice start for Duza.
Well, my drawing on the map is disabled, but yeah, the Earthshaker did find himself a nice little fissure here that your family were not expecting. They didn't have ward vision over the Earthshaker, and very interestingly, they only dropped the 1 sentry down, or at least the 1 sentry that wasn't dewarded, or that was dewarded. So currently, they are going into this lane blind, which is going to be very useful for Duza.
Yep, and you know, the fact that they picked up that first kill onto the Wraith King, not quite the Viper, but at the same time, you know, just getting that level advantage, getting that gold advantage is really important in a tri lane where experience is often very, very scarce. Or scarce. Try and pronounce my words correctly. The rest of the castle will now be in English.
Yep, as we go in, Bane has managed to find his level 2, so presumably we're going to have that Nightmare set up for the stuns. So even without the Earthshaker finding a little cheeky position to get the Fissure, they still should be able to pick up some kills, and this Viper is really going to start falling off very heavily. Viper as a hero needs to dominate his lane. That's pretty much why you pick him up. That and just have a natural mech carrier. Yeah, as you said previously, nobody's really farming incredibly well in this tri lane, but after the little skirmish, Alchemist has managed to find some traction as mid. Iceberg! What? He was tanking tower and just sort of died?
Yep, it looks like he did disconnect, and in fact it was the Void who went and paused, realizing that something was kind of wrong with the Wind Ranger just sitting there and tanking it in the face. I guess disconnects at the wrong moment at the wrong time are a little bit of a pain, as yep, Iceberg is going to go disconnect. That is a real shame, as that's going to give Void so much gold and so many levels. You just don't, you hate to see that happen.
Actually, it was the tower that got the last hit, and I don't think that Faceless Void was actually credited with that kill, so I think the gold was spread throughout the team, but still very unfortunate time to disconnect as he was, like, walking towards the tower, just getting some CS there, but now with the lane equilibrium way behind, he just kind of fed away at death. Yeah, I'm very curious. I think he was trying to dive onto Kranich, but they had supports rotating in as well. The Wraith King was there, but he didn't even get off a stun. They were going for this kill on the Wind Ranger, but in the end...
Yeah, but I guess just, you know, it happens occasionally. This is digital sports, and that includes the digital part where there's a whole bunch of technical issues occasionally happening, and occasionally it will cause issues like this, as we are going to be waiting for Wind Ranger to come back into the game. And so while that's happening, let's have a quick look at the top laners. We haven't really talked about that a lot. It's Bristleback versus Clockwork. Not that commonly seen, but I would consider both these two mostly equal. Clockwork with the Battery Assault, and the Bristleback with his spines and the nasal goo. I like how they use a scientific term for snot there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, as you said, this should be fairly even, but if either of the heroes overstep their bounds and Bristleback gets caught out, inside the Battery Assault, Vlado could definitely get a kill, and similarly, if there's too many stacks up on Vlado, he could also die. But yeah, Legion's low on mana, and Vlado does have the stick for that sustain, so I don't think we'll be seeing much action on top. Yeah, but there is a little bit of kill potential.
Yeah, there's a little bit of kill potential, but both these heroes, very survivable, very tanky, and it's just mostly going to be down to last hitting, which, you know, the Clockwork is slightly ahead of in terms of right now, 8-3 versus a 7-0 Bristleback. Mostly due to that additional 2 damage on the Clockwork and slightly better attack animation.
Yep. Even though the Bristleback is behind in denies, Clockwork is actually behind in experience by 1 creep. Not sure how that happened. Clockwork are just standing outside of experience range for a couple of them. So yeah, I don't expect this lane to go vastly in favor of either of the heroes. It's going to be good for both of them. Clockwork will secure himself to level 6, but once he leaves, Bristleback will be able to find himself a little bit of extra farm, and one of the biggest problems with Bristleback is that if he is pressured very much at all, he kind of falls behind. But this game we should be seeing at least those couple of early defensive items, whether that be a Vanguard, presumably, or into the Hood of Defiance earlier on.
Yeah, because, you know, that lane is going to be pretty static, like what you said. In the meantime, in this mid lane, how do you think this Wind Ranger is going to do now that this Void is going to be severely out-leveling him thanks to that kill? As in, although he didn't get the kill, he did manage to pick up the experiences. He's now a full level ahead of the Wind Ranger.
I don't know, Faceless Void shouldn't dominate this lane by any means, but now after giving up that kill, neither should the Wind Ranger, and also Faceless Void does have the Stout Shield available, and yeah, it's not going to be looking too great. He also gets a salve from his support, so he's not going to have to miss a single creep of experience. Yeah, so Kranich should be doing fine. Until level 6, I don't think he'll be able to get kills, sans rotations coming out from these supports.
Yep, as we are seeing the harassment coming back out, but it's just going to backtrack it away. That Orange Jesus coming into play.
It looks like he is actually maxing out the backtrack, or at least putting 2 points into it early. So, yeah, 50% is decent.
Yeah, 50% chance is very, very nice. In the meanwhile, though, on this trial lane, where all the action is probably going to end up happening, unless there's some more Wind Ranger disconnects, we are seeing that the Viper is starting to not get that much in terms of kills. He's trying to go in for the harassment, which he can actually get mostly free harassment, due to the fact that all of these heroes in this Duza trial lane are very, very low range. As in, Bane can't really trade hits with the Viper.
That said, Sunwon's just kind of auto-attacking and then backing off immediately, because if he does get caught out with the Nightmare, there is the possibility that he will be killed. And yeah, I don't know, he still needs to be pretty careful, which is why he's not getting as much farm as you'd like to be seeing. And Unstable finds himself his little nook, but they're not going to be able to fly Division, and it looks like the Alchemist is going to stun himself, and in fact he does. With the follow-up concussive shot, Wolves Wraithar Blast, it looks like Limbo's just killed himself. Nice Fisher trying to disengage, but he's slowed down. Defensive Nightmare comes out, and it's going to be toggled to the Viper as Skywrath Mage picks up the kill. A fatal misplay coming out from the Alchemist. They probably should have started out with the Fisher or the Nightmare before he channeled that.
Yeah, channeling that first just tells your opposing team that they want to go for a kill. It's basically shouting out, you know, nice and loud, and as long as they don't get stunned up, it puts you in such a bad situation to try and counter.
Now they're going again onto Sonon. He should be able to get the stun this time as the Fisher does come out. It doesn't completely buy out, but with the Brain Sap, they should have plenty of damage. One more punch from the Alchemist, and now the Wraith can kind of cut out in a sticky situation. He's going to be able to tango through the trees, but he's body blocked off by Unstable, caught between a rock and a hard place, and now the right click should come out. Captain Lovey might be able to turn. He doesn't have mana for another stun coming off of cooldown. In one more second, he's going to be able to get the stun, but I don't think he'll be able to kill the Bane. And in the end, now another stun being channeled up by Limbo. He gets the vision and just throws it casually towards Sunwon. So the damage during that fight, I believe, was
2-0, in fact.
Yeah.
Well, technically a 2-1 if you include the Alchemist fight previously, but that was mostly a separate engagement. And, you know, we are seeing this power of an Earthshaker in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. Just how good that fissure is.
Yeah, definitely. Earthshaker is going to be forced to clarity up, and, well, currently is rotating towards the mid lane. So maybe we'll see a kill in the Faceless Void, but with Time Walk, I think it's very unlikely to be able to get this. And, well, with the Chronosphere available, they need to be careful. There could be a TP turnaround as well. He's looking for the Chrono. He just cancel cast that. A little bit of mind games coming out from Greenwich.
Yep, as we do see this Faceless Void. He is actually being beaten slightly by the Wind Ranger, even with that kill being given to him, or at least experience. He's not quite leveling up at the same rate due to that kill, but the last hits is currently 22-10 versus a 20-3.
Yeah, definitely Wind Ranger just getting a little bit of a head start. Down at bottom, it's a little bit of a standoff as several spells have been, I don't know, teased a little bit as the fissure was cancelled midway through animation. And yeah, I don't know, I'd expect the bottom lane to be where most of the action is, and it's kind of hard to look away from it. But then again, mid is also a decent place if we get a good shackle coming out from the Wind Ranger, or if there's a support rotation with the Chronosphere, they could also kill Iceberg.
Yep, Iceberg, obviously that Chronosphere, it does remove evasion, meaning if you can catch him while he's inside the Wind Run, you know, it doesn't really do very much. As he's just standing there again.
Oh, stunned down in bottom, being channeled by the Alchemist. He gets it off at the last second, but doesn't get the acid spray down on the ground. He's actually falling too low as the Viper going to be able to secure that kill, and will Cure even die? Pause coming out yet again, as it looks like Windrunner dropped again.
Yep, so nice. I'm going to say that props, regardless of how well he's doing in the mid lane, huge props to Kranich right here with a capital N. It's an N for a sportsmanship, or at least I think it is. Because he's actually used up his team's pauses twice when he's realized it, which is very nice work coming out from him. Always nice to see a opposite teams pausing for each other.
Yeah, especially when you do have a mid 1v1 matchup when somebody drops, it's fairly obvious, and he's able to catch it before the Windrunner actually falls out of the game. If he didn't, Iceberg, I would expect, would just run straight into the tower or tank the creeps till he died.
Yeah, Pazin, we did kind of notice that right there, but the Alchemist does go down here on bottom. Once again, this combo not quite coming out, or this time not quite coming out, as the Wraith King will survive, and the Bane might be in a bit of trouble. There is only one Arcane Bolt, though, but the Viper could do a whole bunch of damage if he wants to.
I think the Bane will be fine. The Wraith King's too low to turn around for another stun. He's eating up the acid spray damage. I think he'll be able to get out alive from this, but then again, if he tries to go for the next stun, he will definitely tick down. Yeah, I think Captain Love will also be fine, but they might be able to chase him a little bit. Yeah, Alchemist just showing one of his weaknesses without any stat items. His stat gain is very low, and his health just not able to stand up against the Viper and the other heroes when they tried to go for that stun. He got off the stun at a very good time. Had that ticked on himself, that would have been even faster kill onto the Alchemist. But yeah, despite having a decent amount of lockdown, the right-click damage just isn't coming out from this Bane, as well as Earthshaker. They throw the stuns, and then they throw the Brain Step, and that's about it.
But yep, as we are seeing right now, surprisingly, the Clockwork is actually winning his lane to some extent. 31-11 versus a 24-1. They're doing a pretty good job right there, getting the extra experience, getting the extra farm. Although, surprisingly, Bristleback is slightly more experienced than his opponent. Might be due to the way the waves are, as in he might have one more wave of experience in his favor. Yeah,
I don't know, Clockwork currently does have the damage advantage over the Bristleback if he doesn't have one of those stacks up into Warpath because of the phase boots. So it looks like that choice coming out from Vlado is going to give him the edge in the CS department. But for now, Clockwork is probably going to take this wave and then push it out a little bit more before heading back to base and then roaming for that first hookshot gank of the game. As in a 1v1 matchup, the Clockwork's going to get online a lot faster.
Yeah, because we have kind of right now is waiting for Wind Ranger, or Runner, or whatever she's called nowadays. I don't like change. As we are waiting for her to come back, it is a little bit officially right now that we've actually run out of things to talk about in this game.
Looks like that is the case. At about 6 minutes in with 2 pauses already, we've pretty much exhausted most of the things to talk about. It's not really worth looking at the net worth chart, as it's probably fairly even and not really a lot to extrapolate off of that.
It's practically 0 gold, as in, actually, I think it's like slightly in favor of Duza by like 50 gold. And that's going to be GG well played.
That's like an extra GG branch. Like,
Yeah.
too much.
And the experience is 400. That's like almost half a level.
Almost. Let's see.
Actually, it is like one of the early levels. It's like that's the difference between level 3 and level 4, but spread out over 5 heroes.
Yeah.
Yes, this cast has now devolved into numbers.
I mean, later on, numbers are a lot better to analyze, but currently there's very little to talk about. As this game goes later, I'd expect Duza to be looking better in that department. I think they have better ways to start the team fights with the instant initiation coming out from the Earthshaker. But then again, if they get jumped by the Chronosphere, family also have some great ways to deal with that. I think it all depends on how much farm this Alchemist is actually going to be able to get. And with only 11 and 1 CS currently and dying already twice in lane, I don't think he's going to be able to get there, and he's also going for the more utility Alchemist build that we see in mid. So yeah, no 6-slotted Alchemist at 30 minutes in.
No, not quite yet, as I'm currently looking at the couriers, and there's a cute little dragon one. We don't see that often in the game. We generally more see either the parrot or I think I've also seen the owl and the red panda thing more often. So it's nice to see a slightly more uncommon courier.
Yep, I don't know. I like the Azuramir dragon a little bit better. But yeah, this one, an oldie but a goodie. The Prismatic Drake.
Obviously, for those of you who are currently watching right now, there are also another set of games currently going on HeflaTV 1, I think, which is going to be the...
As well as twitch.tv/HeflaMoke, as we have 3 channels currently running with co-casters. That's pretty cool.
Yep, as in just go buy another 2 monitors if you've only got one, set them all up, and just have awesome Dota action while you're waiting for this pause. You've probably got enough time...
Yep. You could also open that up in multi-twitch. Oh my goodness, we're stepping all over each other's feet as Wind Ranger does get back into the game.
Yes! We may have some Dota coming up soon.
For sure.
Having all 10 players in the game is a very good start to having a game of Dota as well.
Alright, carry on.
Yep,
We all get to go live finally.
Yeah. Down in bottom, the Nightmare goes out into the Skywrath Mage, and Bane will be able to run away just fine. Wraith King also looking pretty good, as long as Earthshaker does not fissure him, and Unstable not going to be able to find that range. So in the end, the only kill going to happen on bottom is going to be the Alchemist after that last exchange.
Yep, and that's actually going to be a pretty nice win there coming out for Family, as they're just going to have the ability to counteract the pretty bad start that they had in this tri-lane by picking up those 2 carry kills.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Wind Ranger picks herself up a double damage room and is making her way up towards top as the stun goes away of Vlado, and Vlado is just going to be ripped to shreds. Bash from Legion, and Bristleback picks himself up a kill in the Clockwork. Usually you wouldn't see a safe lane farming Alchemist rotating this early. He's kind of just playing this as he would in the mid.
Yeah, but it's actually a very nice thing I like to see from Alchemists, as he doesn't, compared to a lot of other carries, if you're not going to go for the Greevils, agreed, then it doesn't carry quite as hard as a lot of other carries, so just going for that ganking potential with that maxed out unstable concoction and the level 2 acid spray could do a whole bunch of damage. It looks like they're going to start pressuring this tier 1 top tower.
It's also going to give a decent amount of room for the Bane to pick up his level 6, as well as the Earthshaker to get online with his Blink Dagger and or level 6 quickly. But the Earthshaker looks like he's going to be the target of the next gank, as Clockwork is moving around and looking for that angle to find the hookshot. He drops the flare, and it looks like this Earthshaker will get hooked. Jukes are coming out. It's not going to be off. His Unstable's caught out. With the Battery Assault, you're not getting that fissure off, buddy, and he's just going to be bashed to death.
Yeah, but it's kind of humorous to seeing that happening, as we are going to see that Earthshaker again taken down, and they might want to go on this Alchemist right now. The slow coming out, the Wraith King kind of sitting around in the corner, and the Skywrath Mage also got tears, a full-on nuke. As it looks like the initiation coming out, they're going to go tower dive. Limbo, he's not so much stuck in limbo, stunned up and get nukes down, and the Bane's going to be the next one, as he's in a whole bunch of trouble as well. No rotations coming in. Captain Love is getting a little bit more than love. It's more like a nuke to the face.
Yeah, a little bit of hate to the Bane in bottom lane. As, well, your family are going to strike back after the rotation up towards top, killing the Clockwork, and... Well, yeah, I think that your family have a better way of rotating around. The Earthshaker was able to pick up some levels, as was the Bane, but in the end, it just didn't really accomplish much.
Yeah, but I will say that the ganks coming out from both these two sides have been rather nice right now. And, you know, picking up that tier 1 tower after getting the gank on the Clockwork, a very nice start against, you know, the Clockwork was starting to get a little bit ahead of this Bristleback. As we are seeing a smoke gank coming out. In fact, he's got his level 6 once again. He wants another kill. And it looks like they want to go for it in the middle. They do have the Chronosphere still up, unused so far this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, they do not have the Mystic Flare in the Scarlet Mage, as he's actually just on level 5. Not anywhere close. So, well, with these couple of kills, it will propel him to that, but they won't have the perfect Chronosphere combo just yet. But Duza are all grouped up as well, as they have 4 heroes committed to this mid lane. Fisher onto Kranich. Do they have the follow-up? No, time walk away from him. He'll be just fine. As Viper gets a tier 1 tower down in bottom in exchange, so even if they get this tower, it's not going to be that much, and they're not the fastest pushing team as they cogs in. Just the Alchemist and bounce the Bane down to the low ground. He's trying to channel stun, but he's silenced up. Will it last long enough? He's not going to be able to get it off, or will he? As the first one to die is the Alchemist, rather, and Iceberg, they're pursuing him as well. With the Wraithfire Blast as well as the nukes coming out, there's nowhere for Iceberg to run. He gets bashed down by the Faceless Void in the end. Nobody else is going to die, but I don't know, your family strike back, and 2 very convincing clashes, and coming out on top as well as the towers are concerned as well. So 2 for 0 and a tower.
Very nice bet they're coming out, just picking up that tower with no one being down there and getting the defense. Without, you know, they didn't even take that much damage on the tier 1 tower, only around about, I guess around about 500 damage-ish. And, you know, that's not a lot to give up.
Yeah, and this is quite possibly one of the saddest alchemists that I've seen farming in quite some time. As a support alchemist, this might be passable with the magic stick as well as brown boots, but that's it that Limbo has been able to pick up. With 4 deaths and only 17 CS, this is not where you want to see your farming alchemist at. 10 minutes in, and well, as we have hit 10 minutes, I'll go ahead and check out the graphs, and after the couple of pauses, just a straight down dip towards your family, almost hitting at about 1500 gold advantage, just a little bit less than experience is about at 1500 as well. So the early advantage going towards them, and that's going to be the case. As mid lane, it looks like Duza are going to be pushing in this tier 1 tower yet again. Didn't work out for them very well last time. Oh no, as Kranich gets nightmared up, maybe looking for this kill on Captain Love. They don't have enough ways to follow up on that, and he might be in a little bit of trouble, but the cogs will make sure that his retreat is sure.
Yep, nice cogs coming out there from Clockwork, and you were saying that this is a pretty sad alchemist coming out, and he's actually farming up less than the support Bane on his own team. That's how sad it is.
Chronosphere down and bottom on Legion, but he's hitting him in the back, so, like, Legion's taking very little to no damage with the 2 parts of the mechanism. They're going to commit even further, but the great goes out to Vlado, and Vlado's just going to get turned on by Legion, rather. Bristleback, just a very tanky hero with that extra armor available to him, and they needed to hit the front to even have a hope of getting that kill, and even with that, there was very little chance that without the Scarlet Mage, they could have bring him down.
Nope, he's just so difficult to kill, especially for a Void. He doesn't really have anything else other than physical damage, which, you know, a Bristleback loves taking physical damage.
Yeah, the bash is magical, but he didn't get too many of those as his attack speed isn't really there with only the PTs. In mid, Kira is going to take a lot of harass from Iceberg, but Iceberg needs to be careful as the Scarlet Mage ulti gets dropped on her with the Silence and Arcane Bolt following her as well. They might be able to chase down this kill. The Fisher blocks him on the wrong side, and he's going to turn for the Shackle. It's not going to latch. They will lose the ultimate on the Wraith King with the Echo Slam also committed coming up from Unstable, but they're going to be able to catch out the Wind Ranger under the tower. He should be able to dive this one. Wind Ranger's coming out for a second time. He's actually getting body blocked with the Brain Sap. Kira looks like he's going to dive for good this time, as the tower last tick gets him. So, yeah, unfortunate that Scarlet Mage wasn't there to commit another Arcane Bolt. I thought he would turn for that.
Yeah, but all they needed was one more. One more would have been enough, and that would have been a very dead Wind Ranger. Instead, we saw the Wraith King kind of try and dive too much to make what his ultimate giving up worthwhile, and gave up his life instead.
Yeah. So, Arcane Boots are secured on the Earthshaker. No Blink Dagger coming out for him for quite some time, but sitting at that baseline 12 minutes for level 6 on your supports, which is pretty good, and everybody has their ultimate in this game.
Yeah,
with the exception of the Wind Ranger, who didn't level it up.
Yeah, as she could have if she wanted to, but, you know, probably one of the less required ultimates in the game. It's good for tower pushing, but aside from that, the fact you can only really focus on one target just means that you don't get the same amount of utility you get from just leveling up her other skills.
Well, with the item in Iceberg's inventory currently, she has a Glove of Haste. I'd like to see an earlier point into her ultimate, because with the Focus Fire and the procs coming out from Maelstrom, you definitely can do good as a double damage. Vlado hookshot's in with the Scar of the Mage ulti. That combo's doing a lot of damage, but so is the Nightmare coming out from the Bane, and well, Bane, it's going to be toggled away. Vlado, and Vlado is now going to die to the Bristleback. We have a Chronosphere lands onto 4 heroes, and well, they focus down on Stable with the Viper, and now Captain Love does not get bashed. Time walk away from the Faceless Void as Bristleback picks himself up a double kill. Caught inside there with the creeps and the Alchemist. He's rotating it as well as they get a long-range shackle onto Sunwon with the power shot come out from the Wind Ranger. It's going to be a 1-for-3 trade in the favor of Duza.
Oh, that was a real shame right there, as we just see an amazing ultimate coming out from the Void, hitting all 4 perfectly, but then they kind of went on the wrong target. They instead decided to try and go for that low Earthshaker, even though he was in range of the Viper, attacking him down anyway. And it basically meant that that ultimate was nothing more than a 5-second stun. Yeah,
pretty much. Very unfortunate. Well, for now, Duza are going to secure themselves the Tier 1 tower. I don't think they'll go much further. Unstable is actually going on a very deep mission. I thought he was going to be placing some wards, but Captain Love's the one who's going to hold on to those. Drops one on the high ground. That's probably going to be spotted out by that flare, actually, so they should know that that's warded. And the pings come out from the clockwork. That should be dewarded almost instantly.
Yeah, they will surely know that's going to be happening, as we are going to be seeing a possible Tier 2 tower push. The first Tier 2 to go down in this game, if it happens. And the rest of the family a little bit slow rotating up. And Wraith King's going to have to be a little bit careful. He's not actually outside of this fight.
Yeah, Faceless Void ended up going for the Hand of Midas, and without the Chronosphere, he's just going to continue pushing down in bottom lane. I don't think he'd contribute that much to the team fight, even if he was there. Wind Ranger, still don't know what she's going to go for, but as I said, I presume that's going to be a Maelstrom. I definitely wouldn't like Hand of Midas this game coming out on her.
Yep, as we are going to be seeing this Void, he is going to be able to pick up an Invis, and this could be some awesome stuff coming in. He's got an Invis, his Chronosphere is up in 3 seconds. Are we going to see an awesome Chronosphere?
Yep, and now this time they will have the backup coming out from the Scarith Mage with that Mystic Flare. So yeah, let's see how it's going to go down. As Crunch is currently just farming up mid, and the push is going to subside from Duza as they smoke up, looking for an initiation onto the Faceless Void. They also have a Sentry in mid, so even if he gets the Invis rune off, he still could be in trouble. He time walks away, no shackles being thrown out, and well, nothing happening in mid.
Yep, he kind of like walked into the smoke and realized, oh, there's someone here, and got out of there ASAP.
Yep, as Bristleback as well as Bane are farming up the neutrals up in top. They do have a smoke of their own, and they won't throw any spells towards the Viper. I think he knows what's going on. He will cancel an auto attack in the end. Yeah, no Fiend's Grip onto the Viper, and everybody's just going to back off. So a lot of ganks attempted around the map, but nothing actually going to happen, as the kill score is still 9-9.
Oh, this is a little bit sad coming out as a support player myself. We just saw basically all of the wards right now on the family side have basically been warded.
Yep, Limbo down at bottom, caught up by the Chronosphere. Will he be bashed down by the Faceless Void? The regen's not going to be enough. Unstable goes for the Echo Sun, but it only catches out one, and in the end he's going to be Wraithfire blasted down. 9-11 as the kill scores. Your family pick up 2 down in bottom.
Yeah, very nice turnaround right there, as we all have been seeing some team fights coming out from Duza, just, you know, taking control of this game, and getting those 2 kills is actually a lot more crucial than it may seem, and just in terms of whatever that word, when a train continues rolling through.
Yeah, top push is going to be repelled as the Viper as well as Wraith King do join. There's Skyreth Mage up in top lane. So a little bit of damage secured down there. It forced out the Glyph that will be on cooldown for the next couple of pushes, but in the end Duza are just going to back off.
Yep. The word I was looking for was momentum. A little bit like velocity.
Yeah, that is...
We are seeing a possible attempt here on Viper, and Viper's going to be in so much trouble, but the shackle doesn't hit, and the fissure is going to mean he's definitely going to get away, but the ultimate has been popped by the Bane, but he manages to get away, and this might be initiation coming in from Wraith King, just stunning up this Earthshaker. The Void coming out. Does he have the Chronosphere? No, he doesn't, not for another 39 seconds, but the Faceless Void, the Earthshaker will go down there.
Yeah, on the back lines, Vlado is going to find himself a hookshot on the Alchemist. Alchemist going to be forced, First down, or rather, that regen's going to be enough. The power shot lands on all 3 heroes as the slow goes out to Limbo. The courier is also in the mix as the Maelstrom's being delivered to the Windrunner, and it doesn't look like they're stopping just yet as Cure comes back after his ultimate. They're going to start slowing him down with the Viscous Nasal Goo. Another stun being channeled up by Limbo, throw it into the face of Vlado, and Vlado trying to be focused down. He has the battery cell available. They silence up Captain Love. No more spells coming out as Limbo's ultimate's not down there. The Scarlet Mage ultimate, a lot of the damage is shared between 2 heroes, and now Cure, he goes for a stun on Limbo. He's channeling his own stun. Will they be able to silence him up and stop him? A Chronosphere comes out as the Alchemist stun is thrown. Captain Love, he's caught inside the Chronosphere. That's going to be 2 more kills. Wraithfire Blast is thrown with the dying breath of the Wraith King. His Iceberg's being focused down, but a beautiful fissure catches out both of them as Sun1 is also going to fall. So 3 for 3, the final trade in this team fight. But Duza are the ones closer to tier 2 tower and maybe be able to secure a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, very nice fight coming out there from both those 2 teams. Just lots and lots of back and forth. The Void getting his Chronosphere up was pretty crucial, as that would have been very terrible if it hadn't come out. But the Earthshaker also being crucial with his brilliant fissures. Just really showing how close these 2 teams are right now. As we even have a look at the gold, and it's 500 gold in favor of Duza, and around about 500 experience in favor of Family. So this is, anyone's game right now, even though it's 3 kills ahead for Family.
Yeah, Earthshaker actually died earlier on in that fight, so I suppose it was 4 for 3 in the favor of your Family, which is kind of why they have that experience advantage. But all around the map, Duza has been able to find a little bit more farm, especially on this Bristleback, who's currently 110-7 in the CS department. So that kind of explains our 500 golden experience disparity, but still it's negligible at this point in the game.
Yeah, the only thing that's really possibly different would be the carries who were getting farmed, as we do see that the Alchemist, he's kind of made a smallish comeback with that level 2 Grievous Greed, but still nowhere near the Void. But even the Void is being out-farmed by the Bristleback. So it's going to be interesting to see that this Bristleback, he can carry to some extent, at least in the mid-game. He starts to scale off a little bit when anti-armor items start coming out, but before then he can do a lot of carrying. Yep,
Clockwork and Scarlet Mage, putting that combo to good use, just cogsing in the Bane, and there was nowhere for him to run, couldn't get off his Brain Sap inside the cogs, and they'll be able to find themselves that pick off. It looks like the Bristleback going to rush straight towards the heart of Tarask, as he does have the recipe for the heart on the courier, and almost has it completed at 20 minutes in on top of his mechanism.
Yep, lovely stuff right there. So we do see a tier 1 tower finally going down for Family, leaving only 1 left.
Chronosphere down at bottom onto Unstable as well as onto Iceberg. They don't have a lot of damage to throw the wave Iceberg, but Unstable's definitely going to fall. The Shackle lands on the Kranich, but with the Scarlet Mage now joining the fray, they'll be able to pick themselves off 2 off of that Chronosphere.
Yep, as we do see currently defending that T1 tower, very successful, picking up 2 kills with that Chronosphere. And I will note right now that Cure on that Wraith King is not rushing a Blink Dagger on the Wraith King.
Yeah, not entirely rushing it. He does have the Urn of Shadows as well as the Power Treads online. He also has a Quelling Blade. Not sure about that choice, especially not up against a Nature's Prophet. But a lot of small casual items up for the Wraith King, and I'd expect him to get the Blink Dagger eventually. I still think getting it late is solid for your support Wraith King. But yeah, I think having 1 Urn at least on your team is definitely worth the investment.
Oh yes, as in I would have expected possibly Scarlet Mage to be the one to pick that up, but he's been mostly just warding up, so he's been in the 5th position, as we do see Viper is going to get that Roshan and pick it up, and very nice stuff for him, as I do agree with it going on the Viper at the moment, as for the Void, as long as he gets off his ultimate, there's nothing really else he can do in a team fight.
Yeah, eventually he's going to start picking up a lot more damage, as he does have that Maelstrom completed, as well as 2.3k gold in the bank. Kranich is trying to farm up an Ancient stack, but without a Mask of Madness or without anybody else to help him tank, it's very unlikely he'll be able to do so. Well, we do have the BKB coming out from the Alchemist up against a team from Family, however. It's not going to be that helpful, except for against the Wraith King in the Scarlet Mage. It's usually not a bad item, but still, I think Limbo getting something along the lines of potentially even a Heaven's Halberd might have been a little bit more helpful to give them that extra HP as well as survivability up against the right clicks coming out from them, as well as disabling this Faceless Void, who's nowhere close to a BKB of his own.
Yep, as everything has kind of slowed down a little bit, as we are seeing Duza attempting to start pushing in. I would say that Duza don't really have the best late game options compared to the Void on Family, and even the Wraith King to some extent. As we are going to be seeing this tier 2 tower start pushing in. Bristleback wanting to use his early game farmers. He's just sitting there tanking up that damage, and Viper's going to start being annoying with that harassment.
Yeah, Limbo pops his ultimate, is now channeling his stun, looking for the wraparound onto Fendril. Fendril's going to be stunned up behind the tower, and Legion is also coming in with a nice fissure, lands onto someone. But now the initiation comes out with the Chronosphere, mostly on to everybody, including some of his own teammates that are being focused down by Iceberg, but they will be able to secure the Earthshaker as the trade for the Skywrath Mage. Currently, we have a grip on the backlines onto Cranch, with the follow-up stun coming out from the Alchemist, who is currently PK beat up. They might be able to finish this off, as the next skill is going to actually be on the Vayne. Vlado, with that battery assault, not really doing much, but Limbo's BKB is going to wear off, as well as his ultimate. He popped up very early on in the fight, and he's going to fall. Stun up on the Legion. Legion, even with that hard trask, is caught between too many heroes. Not going to be able to take down anybody else. And 4 for none, or rather Skywrath Mage, the 4 for 1 is going to be the trade.
Yep, very nice work there coming out from Family. As we just saw, they kited around the opposing team. The ultimate was a little bit off from Void. It trapped Clockwork in a weird place, as Bane could hit him, but he couldn't hit Bane, even though he'd got the ultimate off onto her. But at the same time, the rest of the movement, especially protecting that Clockwork and the last set of cogs to secure the kill on both the Bristleback and the Alchemist, very good work right there, and they're surely going to take a huge lead after that team fight.
Yeah, definitely. Wraith King is actually going to completely forgo the blink as he goes for a medallion for his team. It's an okay pickup, but I would have liked to see this a lot earlier if you're going to go for it. I think at this point in the game, saving up for your blink dagger, maybe picking up another item altogether is a better option.
Yep, as we do actually see right now, after that team fight, they do take another 2k lead, getting to the highest goal lead in the game right now of 4k for your Family. Is, you know, this is not very good for Duza, considering they don't have the better late game.
Yeah, I mean, after the longest time of being very even, we actually see a significant lead being built up by one of the teams. Alchemist, he's managed to catch up in his farm with that BKB, and now that he is CSing decently well and putting that Grievel's Greed to good use. Limbo will be able to pick up another items, but earlier on, I'll just repeat what you said, that Alchemist, as a late game carry, he's strong if he's able to get his 6 items up early, but if not, he's pretty much going to be just another support. He's going to offer the stun as well as a tanky frontline hero, but he's not going to be able to put out that damage effectively.
Yep, and the real issue we're seeing right now from the Alchemist is he's nowhere near that instant 6 slots we usually see from an Alchemist. As he's got a BKB, he's got a power treads, but out of all the cores, he's the lowest farmer. We do see initiation here onto a Clockwork. Clockwork getting caught out. Lots of skills being used. Wind Ranger picking that up, but in the meantime, the tier 1 tower does go down.
Yeah, I mean, losing our Clockwork there is unfortunate, but they spent a lot, and it was able to secure them the last hit onto that tier 1 tower. So I think Family are going to be okay with that exchange, although they would have much rather not had the Clockwork die.
Oh yes, as we are seeing another more aggression coming out from Duza as they're going across the river to try and push down this tier 1 or tier 2 top tower. And really, at this point, what else can Duza do is really see Viper picks up another kill, just soloing Wind Ranger right there.
Well, they actually did commit the Chronosphere to that one. There was no way for the Wind Ranger to run. She was mid-turn animation, and even if she got the Wind Run off, it wouldn't have helped her inside the Chrono. Just too much damage for her to deal with. Without the Chronosphere, defending this tier 2 tower is going to be a little bit more difficult, but they're going to jump straight onto Unstable, and inside the Clockwork Cogs, they're going to remove a 5th hero, another hero rather, from the side of Duza. They force that forward the Viper, Time Walk forward the Aceless Void, and now Captain Love, he gets the Brain Sap off, but that's all he has in the tank. 3 heroes being fed away, and not a single point of damage going the way of that tier 2 tower.
Yep, that was absolutely lovely there coming out from Family, as they just picked them off one by one, as they were spread out kind of looking for ganks, but that Earthshaker just got caught out of position by the Clockwork, and if you get caught out by a Clockwork as an Earthshaker, you're not getting anything done in that team fight.
Yeah, for sure. You can drop the Echo Slam inside the cogs, but up against a solo Clockwork, definitely not something you want to be throwing away. Yeah, Hasterin picked up by Kranich, but that's going to be about it. He went for the Aghanim Scepter later on. At this point in the game, it's not the biggest pickup, but it's going to help him be a lot more tanky, and also might be important in a couple of team fights if we do see them stacked on top of each other, as you will have the 60-second cooldown on your ultimate. Wraith King finally goes for the Blink Dagger at almost 30 minutes in, but similarly on the his counterpart on the other side of the map, the Earthshaker, not able to find his farm just yet for that item either, so yeah, Blink Dagger Viper, that's something I wasn't expecting, but I guess with the Aghanim Scepter as well as the Blink, he's going to be able to spam out those ultimates very liberally and catch out some heroes unexpected.
Yeah, but I will say that with the Blink Dagger no longer costing mana a few patches back, it has really made things interesting in terms of heroes that can pick him up, as we see the Viper is kind of caught out a little bit, does get stunned up, but the Chronosphere is perfect, picks up 2 kills, saves his teammate, the Earthshaker trying to go for the fissure, gonna hit 1, but he's gonna go down surely soonly.
And now Legion, he's caught between 4 enemy heroes. There's very few places for him to run. He gets cogsed in, and now eventually he will fall, despite being incredibly tanky. Will he be able to take anybody with him? No.
Yeah,
Full
he's
team wipe.
pretty tanky, but not quite that tanky. Wow. Okay, GG gets called.
Yeah, I know, an unexpected GG. I thought they could have hung in it for a little bit longer, but Duza just respecting the late game coming out from the dire side, and after losing a lot of consecutive team fights in that last one, particularly convincingly, they will go ahead and tap out. This is a best of 2 series, so game 2 will be coming up shortly. It's not over yet for Duza. Let's see if they'll be able to make a comeback game 2.
Yep, as you know, we are going to be game 2 very, very soon, so do stay tuned. This is HeflaTV.
That pretty much sums it up. You can follow us on our English channels at HeflaTV 1 and 2. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching. Game 2 coming up soon.